Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. This is my first official video on my new BookTube channel. I'm super excited. I've wanted to start a channel like this for, I don't know, probably at least a year by now, but I just didn't do it, but now I'm just jumping in and I'm starting a BookTube channel. So today's video is going to be really exciting because as you can see behind me, I have this new bookshelf that is totally empty and I need to get some books to fill it with. Of course, I have a few books on my other bookshelf over here that I'm planning to move to this shelf, but today I'm going to go to my favorite used bookstore and try to pick up a few things to add to this bookshelf, which I'm planning to make my TBR bookshelf. That's the plan. We'll see how well it ends up working in the future. So let's head off to the bookstore. I will film as much as I can in there, and when I get back, I'm planning to do a little haul for y'all as well. So let's get started. Okay, hello again everyone. I am back from the used bookstore and today was a fantastic day at the used bookstore. I'm sure a lot of y'all shop at thrift stores and stuff like that for books, and you know it can be very hit or miss as to what is in stock and the quality of the books and stuff, but today was a fantastic day. I got so many books. So I got 20 books for myself and I also bought my sister 3 books. I'm not going to show those in the video though because we have a lot to go through, so let's get started. Okay, the first book I want to talk about is An Ivy Hill Christmas by Julie Klassen. And I have heard about this author here on YouTube several times, but I've personally never read anything from her. But this book was on display like right at the front of the store with all the other Christmas books they have out for the season. And the cover is so pretty, so it really caught my eye. And I thought it might be fun to read this over the Christmas season. I am going on vacation with my family for Christmas, so I'm going to bring a couple books to hopefully read during that time. My only problem though is I don't know if this needs to be read in the series or if you can read it by itself. So I'll have to do some research on that. Hopefully you don't have to read it in series because I don't have the rest of the series. But yeah, either way, I think it looks really good and I'm excited to read this. You can't even see that, but it's on the shelf now. Okay, next I picked up 2 C.S. Lewis books. I picked up the Screwtape Letters and also Mere Christianity. I do own Mere Christianity and I've read it before, but my copy is pretty tattered and it's got writing and stuff in it, so I thought I would pick up this new, nicer, fresh copy. And I really want to read the Screwtape Letters. I've heard this is really good, so I got it as well, and I'm really happy because they match. It's from the same set, I guess. So yeah, I'm really happy about those. Okay, then I got my first ever Colleen Coble book. I have never read anything from Colleen Coble, at least not that I can remember, but I hear about her all the time here on YouTube, especially in the Christian BookTube world. So I found this. It's Beyond a Doubt, and it's a Rock Harbor mystery. This is, I'm pretty sure, the first in the series. I tried to find the first in the series at least, so I think this should be the first one. And this is a Christian fiction suspense book. I don't read a ton of suspense, but I've been getting more into it. I started reading some Nancy Mell books and really enjoying those. So I thought it might be fun to try some other suspense authors in the Christian genre. And this book particularly interested me because it takes place in the UP of Michigan, which is somewhere I really want to visit. I've been to Michigan and loved it, but I haven't been to the UP. And the main girl in this book, whose name is Bree Nichols, she lives in a lighthouse, which is so fun. I don't think I've ever read a book set in a lighthouse before, and she finds a body in her basement. So that's how this book starts off. It sounds really interesting. I'm hoping it's not too kind of scary because I'm a pretty big fraidy cat, so I don't really want to get like too scared, but yeah, I'm excited to be trying my first Colleen Coble book. So the next book I picked up, I have never heard of or this author before. This book is Eleanor by Shannon McNear. And as you can see right there, it is based on the lost colony of Roanoke. So I'm a history nerd. I love history. My degree is in history. So I saw this book and thought, I have to have it. It sounds super interesting, and it is Christian fiction. It's published by Barber, and it's about a girl who sails from England with her family. Well, I think she's actually like a grown woman, but she sails from England to the New World with her family, and it's about what happens at the colony. I mean, obviously it's a fictionalized version of the events, but I think this is going to be really fun. I've never read anything like this before, and I'm excited to try a new to me author. Also, I'm going on vacation soon to the area of the Lost Colony, so I love reading books that are set in places I've either been to or am going to, so that's an extra bonus for this book. The next book I picked up is Dear Mr. Knightley by Catherine Ray. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but there's the cover. Not even gonna lie, this jumped out at me right away because it says Mr. Knightley. I'm a huge Jane Austen fan, so yeah, I was hooked from just reading the title. And this book, I believe, is written entirely in letters, if I understand correctly, which is really cool. I love epistolary style books, and in fact, Jane Reads is doing an epistolary January book reading challenge, and I want to do that. I just haven't had time to like sit down and plan out what books I could read yet, but I'm sure this will fit at least one of the prompts, so maybe this will jumpstart me into getting into Jane Reads' challenge. But even if I can't read it in January, I'm really looking forward to this. It's about an orphan girl who gets like a mysterious letter from this guy who calls himself Mr. Knightley and wants to be her benefactor and put her through college and stuff. So yeah, it sounds interesting. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of hidden secrets, maybe some family stuff coming up, but we shall see later on. Also, the cover is really nice. I like that color. The next book I have is Death by the Book by Julianne Deering. I was really drawn in by this cover. It's a super cool vintage style cover. And this, I believe, is a cozy mystery. I've never heard of this author before or this series. It's a Drew Farthering mystery. It says it right there on the spine. I personally love to read cozy mysteries. They're usually comfort reads for me, and they're great to break up like longer books, or if I'm reading a lot of nonfiction or something, I can read a cozy mystery in between, and it really helps out so I don't get, into a reading slump or anything like that. I really don't know anything about this book. I don't like to read the backs of books because I feel like it gives away a lot of the information in the story, but it looks like it's going to be really good. Maybe some Agatha Christie vibes. I think it is set in England as well, so should be a fun read. My shelf is filling up nicely. I'm very happy with that. Okay, the last 4 Christian fiction books that I got are all guidepost books. These are also books that are really great as in-between reads or just like a cozy comfort read. The first one I got is Seaside Summer, and this is by 2 authors, Pam Hansen and Barbara Andrews. I've never heard of or read from either of those authors. And honestly, I am pretty hesitant to read books that have 2 authors or 2 or more authors, because I find sometimes that the styles can conflict or the book just doesn't flow as well as it does with one author. But this one just really piqued my interest because it's set in Maine, and I am planning a trip to Maine next year, so I've been looking for books set in Maine. Plus, this book has baking and bookish themes. The main character owns a baking business, and there's also a lady who writes cozy mysteries who is a character in this book. And I love books with baking or book themes. I think it's so fun because those are 2 of my favorite hobbies. So it's fun to read about them in my books. And I think this will be a really fun read for next spring or summer. The last 3 books I got are all in the Secrets of the Blue Hill Library series. I got the first 3 books. They had more than just these 3 in the series, but there was a couple missing in the middle, so I didn't want to buy the ones at the end before I read the ones in the middle, And I'm honestly not sure which order these books go in, but the first one I have here is Unlocking the Truth, and then Shadows of the Past, and Nowhere to Be Found. So again, these are just going to be some nice cozy reads for me in between other tougher stuff that I have on my TBR for the upcoming year. I think these are going to be really fun, and they will definitely have some bookish themes. Based on the covers, it looks like we might also have some baking themes going on, and I'm always interested in that. So that is it for the books I got that are specifically Christian fiction, but I do have some more stuff to show y'all. I picked up this really nice vintage looking copy of The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. This is the first Hercule Poirot mystery, and I've read Agatha Christie before. Some of her books I like, some of them are really big misses for me, but I thought it would be fun to read her very first Hercule Poirot. So I picked this up, and it does have another really cool vintage style cover. In case you can't tell, I love that aesthetic. And this one was in really good condition, so I couldn't pass it up. I mean, for $3.50, I just couldn't say no. I don't know when I'll ever get to this. I guess I'll have to be in the mood one day to read a more complicated mystery that's less of a cozy. But until then, I'll keep it on my shelf. My sister convinced me to buy this next book. This is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. And this is a Victorian sensation novel and a detective story. I really don't know what it's about, but my sister, I think she said she saw it on another bookshelf in a different store or something, and she's been wanting to read it since then. And the cover does look interesting. It looks a little bit spooky. Again, I'm not like really into spooky books, but we shall see. Hopefully I can manage it. I might have to save it for like October or next fall or something, but that's the next book I got. Then I picked up another copy of Jane Eyre. This is one of my all-time favorite books. Absolutely love it. I already own 2 copies of this, but I wanted a copy for this shelf specifically. I thought this edition was pretty nice looking. It's in really good condition, as you can see. It does have a quote on the back, which I love. And it's quite a small book, which is nice for me because I have very small hands. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but some of these books that are larger are just really hard for me to hold, honestly. So I'm glad I was able to find a small copy of my favorite book. I do want to reread this. Actually, in February, I'm planning to reread a lot of my favorite classic romance novels, including Jane Eyre. So, you know what? I just realized I'm putting these all on the shelf, and I forgot to remove the stickers on the front. So I'll have to go back and do that once I finish filming this video, but I really like this bookstore because the stickers come off the front super easy. They don't leave any residue and they don't tear the cover. So very appreciative. All right, so the last part of my haul is probably the most exciting. I don't know why, but my bookstore today had a ton of these Wordsworth Classic vintage editions of classic novels. I was freaking out, okay? I seriously was jumping up and down in the bookstore because I love so many classic novels. I'm a huge classics reader, just in case you couldn't tell already. And it can be really hard to find nicer copies of the classics at thrift stores and used bookstores because usually when people buy nice books, they keep them for themselves, obviously. But I guess there was like an overprint or something of these books because these are all brand new and they had stacks of these books. You'll see in the clips that I put in from the bookstore. Some of them do have like a little bit of denting on the cover or some like ink splotches on the outside of the pages. But overall, they're fantastic quality and they're gonna look gorgeous on my new shelf, so I'm so excited. Okay, the first one I got was Hamlet, and I gotta take the stickers off of these because you have to see the covers in all of their glory. So first up, we have Hamlet. I thought this cover was so cool with Yorick's skull on the front. I also really like this nice warm brown tone, and all these books have quotes on the back, which is so fun. I'm obsessed with this. I'm so glad they had these today. These were a little pricier than I normally pay for books at that bookstore. I usually don't go over $5 for a used book, but again, these aren't even used, so I can't complain. Next, I got A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I do own a vintage copy of this book, but it's in a collection of Christmas stories. It's not its own little story, so I wanted to get an individual version, and I think this would be so pretty to put up on a book stand, like for the Christmas season. It looks so nice. I'm gonna leave that there for the rest of the video. Then we have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is another one of my favorite classic novels, and the back is really pretty too. I do already have a copy of this, but it's actually just a Barnes & Noble edition. So I'm excited to have a really nice copy, and this is so gorgeous. I just love it. I'm really thrilled with what I got today, in case you can't tell. And all these books are the same size, so they're gonna go perfectly together on the shelf. Next, we have Great Expectations, again by Charles Dickens. This, A Tale of Two Cities, and David Copperfield are my 3 favorites from him. It's honestly really hard for me to choose a favorite, although it might be David Copperfield. Unfortunately, they did not have David Copperfield in the Wordsworth editions today, but I'm really glad I got Great Expectations. Last but not least, the book I am probably most excited about is this version of Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky is one of my all-time, if not my all-time favorite authors, and Crime and Punishment is one of my favorite books from him. This is such a chunkster though, look at this. This edition is absolutely gorgeous. I know it's kind of gory, but it really fits the theme of the book. I don't know if any of y'all read Dostoevsky or know what this is about, but if you haven't read Crime and Punishment, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's such a good story. It also has great Christian values in it. A lot of people don't think about Dostoevsky when they think about Christian fiction, but his books have great morals, so I recommend them. I doubt I will ever read this copy. I do have another copy on my other bookshelf. This one is just a little bit cumbersome, but on my shelf, it's gonna be perfect. Okay, so those are all the books I got today at my used bookstore. I hope y'all enjoyed seeing me go book shopping, and I hope you enjoyed the haul. Again, this was my very first video, so I don't expect it to be perfect, but I hope it was watchable and likable and enjoyable. I do plan to do another video soon where I organize this shelf a little bit more and bring in some books from my other bookshelf so that it will be totally filled up. But until then, I will say bye for now and see you in the next video. Bye! I have mere creation.